All right. Anyways, I gotta go here, guys. I got stuff I gotta do here.
We'll get out of here then.
All
It's
right.
fine. I got
Sorry, I
Jenny
gotta
now. I'm
drop.
not alone.
Yeah.
It's
Later.
nice talking to you backstage,
Well, I
though. Bye,
believe
Headless.
one of my favorite British mysteries is on right now, so I'm thinking of deserting you for that. I haven't seen it in a couple of
You're gonna
weeks.
leave me for a British mystery?
Yeah, I love British mysteries. They're so well written.
It's more important than Beck. Okay, fine. I'll just never mind. I'll just shut it back down. I'll just kill it.
The well,
I'm just kidding.
the female lead is the same woman who played Doctor Who.
I don't know anything about any Doctor Who's.
Oh, okay.
Never seen anything except for commercials. Not my thing.
And and I think the male lead did too. His name is David Tennant. If there's any Who junkies out there, tell me.
I don't know who's. Yeah, Cosmic goes what? Sandy goes what? What do you? Kira started it all because she didn't see my question. All right, you guys. Um, well, I mean, if you want to leave me, leave me. I'll just sit here and I don't know. I could sing for a little bit till someone else comes in. Dubian. Oh, where the hell have you been? Good to see you. Or where the hell have I been? That's a better question. Where the hell have you been, Jenny? What have you been doing?
Just same old shit.
No.
That's really about it. Just the same old shit.
What's the
Uh,
same old shit for you? You still going to your? Are you still doing the weekly meetings down at the Pride Center place?
that's every other week. Actually, it's
Oh,
twice a month, first and third Wednesdays.
oh, okay, good.
And yeah, I'm
I'm
still
glad you're
doing that.
still good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
Absolutely. Although it's winter, the attendance really drops off.
Oh yeah.
Nobody
People,
wants to deal with the cold.
yeah, nobody wants to leave their house to go there, right? Fuck it, it's too cold. We'll talk
Mhm.
online. YouTube just robbed me of time with friends. Damn it, Sandy. What happened? Oh no, 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 Sandy. I just went live like 2 minutes ago, literally. You're fine. I don't know why you didn't get the other notification, but I literally just went live when you got here. Hi, DKH. How are you?
Oh, Tubian, thank you for the info.
Oh,
That's kind
oh,
of weird
who's
that two
okay?
people that took the same role would end up in the same British TV series.
Oh, that is interesting. Were they like back to back years apart?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't watch Doctor Who because it doesn't get shown around here.
Touche. No, I don't. I mean, I've just never been into that kind of stuff. So
But yeah, I fell down the rabbit hole of British mysteries. They really are well written. They're not
I believe it.
they're not like American stuff, which is all shoot 'em up, blood and guts. Glory, 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 glory to the cop guy. That sort of thing. They're really cerebral. You have to think about it. They're interested in doing a story and
Hmm.
and that kind of stuff, and as opposed to just action and gore. And so
Hmm.
I like them quite a bit.
Yeah. No, I like I've watched I used to watch British comedy and stuff years ago, like, Have You Been Served and all those. Well, mostly Have You Been Served. It was my favorite one. And it was the easiest. It was the one that was on more often where I lived
Mm-hmm.
at, with my little shitty TV back in the day. Um I love the sweater song, said Maynard. The sweater song? Oh, from Have You Been Served? Oh, I don't remember that. I just don't. It's been too long. I watched that shit when I was like in my early 20s. I don't remember.
There's this new British comedy that the local public television is showing. It's called the the Everything Goes Wrong show, and that's exactly what the show is. It's like this little group of stage actors who do this program. Maybe it's TV. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But they're on stage and they have some kind of stupid plot that you never really get through. and everything that could possibly go wrong in a stage production goes wrong. And it's always different. It's just a vehicle for slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
What it really is, and it's just very well done and a good laugh.
Cool. Hey, Knock. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Doing good. Just bullshitting. Nothing to see here. What have you been up to? Well, you were streaming a little while ago. How'd that go?
Yeah, just crazy Christian shit, man.
Well, there's plenty of that to talk about.
Yeah, a never-ending supply. Oh, nothing much, just living the struggle.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Peace, brother. I hear you. I know all about it. Oh, let's see. We got Maya and Maynard, DKH, and oh my God, Reggie, and you guys are nice coming over here when I don't really have anything to talk about. No, Maute finished his stream and he said something about Maya doing an after party, and I was like, "Well, I'll run it. You can come over." And then Maya's like, "Oh, I'm exhausted. I'm not doing a stream right now." I'm like, "Oh, I need to find people now."
Yeah, that shit happens.
Yeah, no, it's cool though. I don't care. Junie, oh my goodness, where have you been?
I know. Gur was
Titans here.
Yeah, you gotta watch out. Titans in the chat. Law and orders here.
What are you saying about Gur? Gur fucking cracks me up.
Yeah, Gur was supposed to stream. Like I even was nice. I was like, dude, I won't open up my show. I'll let you stream. And I didn't notice. He might have told me in my side chat that he wasn't gonna stream, but maybe he's still gonna stream. He's just running late. But I'm like, I could have totally had a room tonight.
Right? Yeah, you could have done whatever tonight. Well,
but
you can invite people over here if you want to just chit chat and not stream. I don't care.
I'm
not an asshole.
Now that I'm like, I got the atheist back. I gotta start making waves with the Christians, because Christians, I don't know, through the whole Smokey Saint thing, they forgot about me. So I gotta get Christians interested again. The best way to do that is just talk shit. So it'll happen.
Hi Maya. Hi Jenny. Hi Titan.
Oh, Knock, you and those dumpster fires.
I'm putting it out there, so once they start realizing there's 2 Christians streaming tonight with the room, so I'm gonna hop into a couple. I might start stirring the pot again, so it might be easier to draw some flies for people.
Yeah, right.
Commander, I think that would be an excellent show. I'll watch. I'll pay admission to see that.
DKH said dumb stir fires. Yes, that's probably, yeah, it's probably more realistic there.
Yeah, the whole Marjorie Taylor and Nick Fuentes thing is hilarious. It's especially when you play the montages of when they were getting along compared to now that they supposedly hate each other. It's great.
Oh, really? Like when did that happen?
I don't know. Like they just Marjorie Taylor Greene just came out and said, "Yeah, don't like Nick Fuentes. He's a Nazi." And it's like, Marjorie, so are you?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Remember the whole Jewish laser beams?
No one ever said anything that crazy.
She is such a complete piece of granite, It's
just like 2 years ago. There's montages of Nick Fuentes introducing her to some crazy Nazi event, and full of praise, and they love each other, and now they're like, yeah, like Nick Fuentes says, I can finally stop pretending I like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, dude, come on, you're so fake.
Yeah, like real. Who's gonna listen to that douchebag bigot anyways? Fuck that guy.
Hey, I was
who would listen to either one of them?
I was wondering, between you guys and all the folks in chat, did all of you were you able to buy your Donald Trump NFTs before they ran out?
No, they totally sold out, man. The Colt was, they were out in force for that one.
Did you see the commercial?
Yeah,
you could win a dinner with me. That's all we got.
Did you see the fan art that people have been doing to include with the NFTs since?
Oh yeah, it's been great.
No, I haven't seen any fan art. Just watching that was priceless for me. I loved it.
Typical internet biting humor. took over, and people painted some really grotesque things.
Yeah, it's like even Steve Bannon's coming out. It's like, I just can't anymore. This is ridiculous.
Oh,
You know, like,
really?
yeah, it's crazy.
Oh,
Like,
that's
what
interesting.
was he thinking? Like, it's the dumbest thing.
Well, he
ever.
missed the market. The market collapsed 6 months ago.
Read the screen,
And-
Knock.
His wife took a beating. Ivanka took a beating, and now it's his turn. It's I was like, what?
Yeah, well, you know, I've kind of talked about it. Like, you know, I still there's certain elements. You know, I did an in-depth look at Buddhism. I never really, you know, I never declared myself Buddhist. People were trying to say that I was a Buddhist now, and I was looking at there's some tenets of Buddhism that I can apply to my life and find useful. But no, I mean, yeah, it didn't take me long to come back to the atheist. It's just what I am. You know, when I'm in my deepest meditation and I ask the question, there's no willingness to believe in nonsense. So yeah, it's just, you know, I'm gonna try to be nicer about it, but then I look at shit like I was looking at today, and it's impossible. Like, Christians make it so impossible to be nice about it.
Oh, I used to try to cut Christians a bunch of slack because I knew people who were Christian and they were good people and they didn't follow any of this bullshit. But you know, there's just it's like cops. You know, it seems 1 out of 10 is any good, and the rest just want to kill somebody.
Yeah, that's what I was watching today. This dude, you know, it wasn't even like a near-death experience. This dude just had a dream, and he was claiming he went to hell, and you know, like there was this whole level for gay people, you know, where like he was very specific, like privates getting poked with swords, and you know, like there was this, it was just insane, and you go through it, and it's like, you know, like you just want to like kind of shake the guy and be like, you know, sane people don't think about this stuff, you know. Like,
well, wait a minute.
We don't fantasize in this way, you know, like.
I had that dream. No, I
It's so
didn't.
crazy. It was so crazy. Like, the things he was saying was just batshit crazy.
Oh my God. I don't know what to think of half these people. They're just, I mean, they're really insane.
Well,
You know, they get up in front of people and say the stupidest, like Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, people are saying me and Steve Bannon were conspirators for the January 6th attack. If we would have done it, we would have had guns.
No,
and we would have shot
we would have
people.
won.
She
and
claimed she was a victim.
In other words, she would have killed. They would have killed everybody in there if they were doing it. You know, like,
yeah.
Do you realize you just said that?
Oh,
you are a fucking idiot.
The development on the January 6th committee today. Their final meeting is going to be on Monday, and they're going to announce all their findings and referrals, and they let stuff out ahead of time. And Trump is definitely going to be referred to the Attorney General for prosecution for let's see, interfering with the process itself, you know, the ceremony and the mechanisms of it. One other thing, and sedition. They're taking
Shut
them down.
up.
They're taking them down with the big one. Yeah.
Wow. Are they really?
Well,
No,
they're going to refer to the Attorney General.
Oh,
that's the thing. Merrick Garland. We'll see.
Well, Merrick Garland has put what 30 people in jail over this.
Yes, he has already. Yeah, it's right around 30.
He's doing a fine job. He's following his reputation precisely.
I'm really skeptical that anybody will ever arrest a person that was a president.
Well, I'm telling you, dude, sedition's a good one.
It's about to happen.
But I mean, if he does though, sedition, man, that would be. I'd go to that party.
And the guy who would do it is the special
sedition.
The guy who would be responsible for it is this Jack White special prosecutor who just showed up, and he's an absolute wolf. They say that he wants to chew the fuck out of anybody like Trump. And this doesn't include the whole document issue yet either.
I mean, he's pretty much losing support in the Republican Party, so you might as well make an example out of him. So DeSantis knows, dude, don't pull that shit. Yeah. You know, don't go there, man.
Don't try to trump nothing. Don't trump anything.
I want to know what's going on with the Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas. The dude has a very shady, almost criminal past, and he's up on charges and stuff for some stuff in the past. And now he wants to play Nazi and gather all the names of every transgender person in Texas and put them on a list.
Yay!
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you can keep track of where they are, who they are, and what they're doing. Does that sound very American?
I mean, no. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Lately, yes, or for the last, like, I don't know, 300 years or whatever.
Well, yeah, and especially because there was this tick towards progression, but it really seemed like with that alt-right movement, it kind of lashed on to fundamental evangelicism, and it really seems to be on an uptick the last 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely is. The right wing effort and established goal of a theocracy has been developing since 1980. It all started in the Reagan days. I can remember hearing about it and going to libraries and researching shit and finding pictures of all these people who were in the Reagan administration and how they talked about that they believe in a theocracy and that God has to rule the United States and it's like, and they talked about, well, that we should be able to get this to happen in 30 or 40 years. And here we are.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at the National Prayer Breakfast, you look at what the evangelical lobby not only does here when it comes to like state legislation across the nation, and they've been doing it, I mean, pretty much since the roles kind of reversed back in the 50s or so, pre-civil rights. They're what they're doing in Uganda, and they were behind the efforts there to start executing gay peoples. So yeah, it's very scary. I remember 5 years ago, I would often say, people would laugh at me. They would say that I was so utterly wrong, but I'm like, like we're getting closer and closer to Christians starting to burn people at the stake again, and that includes us. That's us.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be atheists. It's gonna end up being Jews, atheists, LGBT, and anybody that gets a bug up their ass. They're not gonna stop. They have their own little list of people they want to purge. Every kind of revolution like this does, and some of their own people are on that list. They just don't know it.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't on a list like that. She's just trouble.
Oh yeah, she is serious trouble.
Yeah, you keep her as a useful idiot, and then when you win, you take her out too.
Oh well, that's how they use all of them. That's just what's going on.
Yeah.
Doesn't she remind you of Sarah Palin?
I would actually say Sarah Palin is smarter. Which is a really hard thing to conceive.
I would not disagree with that, ma'am.
Yeah, Sarah was like the pebble in the lake, right? And then with Marjorie and with Boebert, now we're getting people are throwing boulders in the lake. Like we're getting the crazy of the crazies come out of the woodwork now.
That's a good analogy. Yeah,
like our governor race here, Whitmer was going against. Her name was Tudor Dixon, and I was like, that's a weird name, and you usually here in Michigan, both the Democrat and the Republican are more moderate because it's a purple state. You want to appeal to the middle, and this, I mean, she was just straight up like, no reasons for abortion. We're going to start arresting abortion doctor, like just the crazy of the crazies. And it's like, this is what the Republican Party has to offer, and that's the promising thing. I don't really think we're going to hit a theocracy because, I mean, people are going to just eventually just start rejecting it. And it's going to whittle down to just this really small minority that they're not going to be able to win anything.
Well, we may have been saved, and the jury is still out, because these people have a hell of a machine behind them. But we may have just barely been saved by the skin of our teeth by the young kids, the new generation.
I've been saying that for years.
I don't
agree
think it's
100%.
Yeah, but they didn't come out like this for Obama or the election.
Oh,
after
no, no,
that.
no, no, no,
But
no.
this one, they really fucking came out.
I also think there's another factor that played in here. A lot of the people who wouldn't get vaccinated were likely to vote Republican.
That's true.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
nobody's really
Yeah.
talking about that. But yeah,
Good
I mean,
point.
the Republican politicians practically killed a good chunk of their voting bloc.
Yeah, they did. Yay!
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
smart
yeah.
of them.
They
People
shot
were starting to
It's
themselves
say
very
in
that-
the
morbid,
foot.
but it's the reality.
No,
People
it's
started to say
true.
that-
They
Look at
shot themselves in the foot.
look
People
at
said
how
that
many.
at the
Wait,
beginning
go
of
ahead.
of the whole COVID vaccine thing, and I just kept saying, shh, don't tell anyone.
Don't tell him to stop. Let him go.
Yeah.
Let Darwin have his way.
Oh, yeah. Let them
Don't talk about it.
continue shooting themselves.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah. And then on top of that, bringing in Trump. And then Trump endorsed candidates.
Yeah.
Did not get in.
Yeah,
Toxic. But that was
I-
good. Let them shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I don't care. Please.
Yeah.
I'll help them hold it. I'll help them study to the gun to make sure they hit the first time. Yeah, no, TU, you're right. That's what I was just thinking because Jenny said, well, they didn't vote like they were not like that for Obama, and I said because it's during Obama's time, I was saying, I swear to God, well, never mind, that wouldn't do any good. He's not real. I swear to the ground and the rocks.
The flying space
That
monkeys.
when Obama was in, I said the kids in high school right now, going into high school and about to come out of high school, that those like 5-6 years worth of those are the kids that are going to get older, because I heard people their age saying things like, that's not right. Why can't people be equal? Oh my God. What did you all just say?
They've run the numbers on this, and they know who died from COVID. They've been counting and keeping records, and it is clearly was leaning very heavily towards people who were anti-COVID vaccine. That all the people who died, not all, but a large percentage of the people who died were protesters.
Wow.
Well, I know the South was completely different than up here. I mean, up here we observed that shit for like 6 months, and like I had friends in North Carolina going to restaurants maybe a month into the pandemic. Like it was this visceral reaction, and then you had politicians fueling it. I agree with what Titan was saying. It was a minute minority, but when you have a country so split right down the middle, losing any number of voters is going to hurt you. And when pretty much primarily every Democrat's getting a vaccine and a good chunk of Republicans aren't, that's going to affect things.
Yeah.
Commander said, in other words, the Christian nationalists who worship a man who is a huge Karen, who raises himself up as the commander of the army of the Lord, but is really the devil. I'm sorry, it's late. I'm tired.
So, speaking of TFG,
how about
I think I've come up with
how about we call them from now on the Army of Karen?
I think I've come up with an idea for the Muskrat to save Twitter. I think he should issue $99 digital NFT trading cards. And sell them to his fanboys on Twitter. And that way he can fund what he needs to make the money he got back or whatever.
Oh, who? Mellon?
I'm just like, when are they ever going to wake up and get tired of giving him money? Like, like I could understand it for the first couple of years, but like, you had the university thing, you had the Steve Bannon thing. It's like he's been caught hustling his supporters so long. It's like, when are you guys going to stop spending your money on this dumb stuff, on these scams? Like it's ridiculous.
Elon Musk or Donald Trump?
Crazy.
Oh, Donald Trump. Sorry, I didn't realize we moved on to
I
Musk.
was doing some thinking. I said this last night on
I was
Purple
reading
Show,
this side chat.
that it's almost looking like with the financial picture that Trump seems to be painting for himself right now, and the financial picture that Elon Musk is painting for himself right now, and just with maybe the hope of God, these two could both go down into the gutter at the same time. Wouldn't that be wonderful to watch?
Oh, that would
You
be
know,
like the
Yeah.
light coming through the clouds, like, oh,
Oh
I
yeah.
would love
I think
it.
I'd
I
start
would
going to
love
church
it.
if that happened.
Maybe there is a God.
Yeah, there is a God, and they got a great
Sorry,
sense of humor.
I still don't have any physical proof that I can touch and make sure I don't believe it. So a motherfucker walks up and smacks me on the back of the head, and I look at him and go, "Holy shit, I'm sorry. I ain't believing it."
Yeah. I mean,
Marjorie
if he did
Taylor-
lose all of his money, where'd it go? To like bankers, so it'd make other rich people rich.
Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to know when we go to the bathroom. What?
Wouldn't surprise me. Nothing would surprise me with her.
$10 billion every single month. Isn't he like down to like 300 million or something like that? So low for him, I know.
No,
What?
he's still in the billions.
300 million.
As far as Marjorie Taylor Greene is concerned, I just want her to know that the Jewish space lasers are always tracking you.
Mm-hmm. And she, I mean, but she doesn't like Nick Fuentes because he's a Nazi.
Do you think she really believes that there's Jewish?
You know, I did see a
space lasers?
Marjorie video.
Oh, hold on, Holy. Hold that thought. Go ahead, Jenny.
No, go ahead, Holy. That's you, talk. I'm tired.
What were you saying, HS?
Sorry, I'm on my phone. I think I got a little bit of lag.
Oh, it's okay.
I was saying that I saw a Marjorie Taylor video where she was declaring spiritual warfare in a church. And I was thinking, this is why I don't think political figures should be speakers in churches. Like, I think that's really problematic.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think they could until like Trump and Pence overturned that law that they overturned in regards to like churches and politics. I can't remember the name of it. It was an old law they overturned.
The IRS restrictions
It's bad
on
news. It's bad news for both sides.
Yeah.
The IRS restrictions on tax-free and politics for churches and stuff still stands. That did not change.
Yeah, no, like they just got rid of it. It was some rule or another to where it's like basically you couldn't preach politics from the pulpit, and politics can be involved in the church. Mike Pence, it was like his main priority. As soon as they hit office, he went to work. I can't remember the name of the rule though. I did a whole video on it. I just can't remember it.
I would be shocked at that because I didn't hear a thing about it.
Man, what was that rule called? I can Google it.
And
because if they tie it to dogma, then they can make these arbitrary rules that like nobody can challenge, right? Nobody has to think through. We don't need to make the table bigger. We don't have to make more room and be inclusive. It's just so much easier if we just
the
tie
Johnson
religion
Amendment
to government, then we can just shut out groups.
It was the Johnson Amendment. That's what they overturned.
Yeah, Carol just came in the chat saying the Johnson Law ?
Yeah, the Johnson Amendment.
Nice.
It was a law barring churches from political organizing.
So
but it lost. So Trump actually didn't succeed. I thought he succeeded, so I was wrong about that.
Oh, he didn't. They didn't abolish it. It's still in place.
Yeah, so it looks like it's still in place.
Okay, good. Because I know a bunch of people just went off about and did petitions and shit against some televangelist because he was telling everybody to vote Republican on the stage of his church, and I shared it on TikTok and went, oh, I hope no one fills out that form and turns it in. Like, yeah.
I wish I could do
bad.
TikTok.
That's what I would hope for.
I'm barely on there.
To actually enforce those rules and laws. To see somebody like that. What's his name? Tim Osshole? No,
Wow, assholo.
What?
It's a hell of a name.
What's his name down in Houston? That
Joel Austin.
Yeah. Joel Austin. I would love to see him go down with taxation up his ass.
Osteen.
That fucker is stealing so much damn money from his church
while running a gay brothel.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just adding things you'd like to see with it.
Oh.
Well, I mean, who knows? He had them checks, hidden in the bathroom behind the wall. I mean, like they found like so much money and handwritten checks. It's like, dude, you're afraid they're gonna catch you for something. So you got that stash ready if you got to just like disappear. He's doing something shady.
And then that short, scary guy with 2 or 3 private jets. God said I need another jet. Please contribute.
He doesn't want. He can't fly and he can't fly and coach with the demons.
Yeah,
like you literally said that shit.
Yeah.
Listen. You aren't successful because you do not have the eyes of faith and the fortitude to give your last penny to the church, and God will just bless you tenfold. I promise you, if you just give us $10, your very last $10, God will give you $500 back. I'm telling you.
Oh,
you
boy.
just have to have enough faith.
I'm gonna do that. Wondering how I was going to pay rent this month.
My grandmother used to give money to like Oral Roberts, I think.
Oh gosh.
My grandfather, after she died, kept getting like money requests.
Do you want to pay rent on earth? Do you want to pay rent on earth, or do you want to save your place or your mansion in heaven?
So my grandfather kept getting money requests from Oral Roberts.
I ain't believing it.
And he finally
that I'm going to get a mansion in heaven.
He finally just got sick. Finally just got sick of these requests and sent them back a little note, like with the Bible verse that says the love of money is the root of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
You never heard from them again.
I mean, it seems like a pretty successful hustle. So I'm gonna start a fundraiser, and I'm gonna call it God Says You Got to Give Me $5 million to become a Christian. And as soon as I hit $5 million, I pretend I'll be a Christian for the rest of my life.
Listen, you don't need to give these pastors $10 every week. We just need 1 million of you to send $1 to each of us every month.
That's right.
Yeah, we need that George Clooney love from God.
Listen, y'all. Our prayer lines are open. Super chat. Prayers.
Call in and donate to your local charity now.
I remember when Oral Roberts had his first kid, the one who's in trouble now with the pool boys. I always hoped that Oral would name his kid Anal.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only person that thought about that name and went, "Oh, that's unfortunate."
So if he has a girl, her name should be Vaginal?
Yeah, sure.
It's the only hole left. Sorry, it's just the truth.
Y'all remember Brother Mario here on the YouTube streets?
I don't know.
Oh, Brother Mario was a kind of good-looking Christian guy, and he'd stream, and he'd get on cam, and people go, "Oh, Brother Mario, you're just so great and so spiritual," and they would throw him all these super chats and all these money, and he was like, "Wow, I'm raking all these super chats in." So then he would sing worship songs. He'd be just like, "Come just as you are," and then people would super chat him, "Boop, boop, 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 boop. Brother Mario, bless you, brother." And he's like, "Yes, help me do ministry. This is what I want to do with my life." And they're like, "Super chat." And then it came out that he was doing hookers and blow, and there was a big old scandal. And then he cried, and he said, "Look, guys, I never had so much money in my life. Satan tempted me. He tempted me."
Oh gosh.
Damn.
He sounded like Jimmy Swaggart.
And they forgave him, right?
Yeah, the usual. I suspect.
Then they forgave him, and they were like, "We need to restore Brother Mario."
Oh gosh.
Did any of you hear
I'm
the
sorry,
story
guys. I never had that much money.
of that fairly recent reveal by this young girl? I think she was 17 or 18. Went up to her Southern Baptist Convention church in the middle of a service and explained to them how this preacher that they have sexually abused her for years when she was around like 13, 14, 15 kind of age. And the church, instead of being horrified and listening to this girl, turned to the preacher and started to bless him and forgive him and shunned
Oh
her.
gosh.
And she had to leave. She, she was afraid of
Wow.
her life.
They're toxic.
Yeah, they're seriously damaged people.
Yeah. And the church does what they do, you know?
Wait,
And claim, oh, they forgive. I remember there was a guy, a pastor here, he was accused of, apparently he troubled one of the young girls in his congregation, 12-year-old, and she spoke out. And the people, as usual, as you said, did not want to believe the girl. But he did get convicted. The evidence was there and he got convicted. You know, and
People
the
make
thing is that these people will put down a red carpet when he's getting out of his vehicle, put down a red carpet and say, oh, the pastor, he can't do this, he could not have done this. And, oh, jeez.
Are you familiar with
right.
the list that the Southern Baptist Convention came out? They produced the document and they released it themselves. It was a 205-page document of all the Southern Baptist Convention preachers and stuff who are either under suspicion or being charged with sexual abuse of minors and
Wow.
girls.
How many of them?
I don't know how many are in the document, but the document is 205 pages long,
Wow.
and it's a list. Okay.
Wow.
And it got buried really quick after it was announced, and they like announced it in a period of time where the news really isn't looking for news stories, and it's still out there. It can't be. It goes hand in hand with that document that's floating around today, even of 475 Republicans who are charged with various sex crimes against children and girls.
But they see the Baptist Convention. No, a lot of these Protestant churches are no better than the Catholic Church. Yeah, you know. So it's Christianity for you, giving this false hope, this
I
false
don't think it's
idea.
just a Christian problem. I think it's a
No,
problem in
it's not just a
general.
Christian.
Like,
I mean,
so
in
like,
terms of religion, the religious type of. I am
oh,
saying
I
that
don't even think
yes, it's an
religion's required to
overall.
be a pedo. No
Right. So the
religion
religion
required.
is trying to say, okay, you can be delivered from this, but really and truly, it doesn't do anything because persons don't get help and
What
they just
religion has to do
suppressed.
with the pedo
I don't
thing
even
today
think
is
that. I
it's the
don't even think they truly think that you can be delivered from it. I think that they just want damage control. Like, for one, they don't want their church to be
Uh,
destroyed. So they look at it as like this. They look at this as this. We can't have, God's reputation destroyed because of someone's sin, and so they try to repair it from that angle. And then, like the thing with the Protestants is that, so the problem with Protestants and evangelicals is some of them have like a leadership structure. Some of them have a
mm-hmm,
leadership structure like the Methodist Church or the Southern Baptist, and there's a leadership
mm-hmm.
structure where you can get paperwork, like you're saying, like the documents, and you can see a paper trail because people have to report and be accountable to somebody. And you can definitely complain about how they handle these reports, absolutely. But at least they're handling it to some degree. I am a little bit afraid. Well, I'm not a little bit. I'm a lot a bit afraid of the IBF. The ones that do not have the accountability and anybody overlooking their churches, and they are just devil may care, do what they want. They don't do background checks on anything. They don't try
oh
to
yeah
mitigate
they're the ones
predators.
Greg Locke and stuff are with.
Yeah.
I'm asking. I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah,
though
That's
they have
Mhm.
zero accountability.
that's the NIFB, which is even worse, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that well, I think you can totally bash on the Vatican. At least there's a structure you can follow. And then, Methodist Church, there's a structure you can follow. Mormons, there's a structure you can follow. I think atheists have a unique problem in sexual problems. I think atheists have a rock star Silverman-ish problem. I think that
Mm.
because atheists often come from a very narrow view of what sexuality should be, and they've come out of shame, they swing in the other direction, and they go a little Hollywood. And that also can be a problem. So I don't think sexual problems are just solely the church. I think that there really needs to be a better understanding on how to handle these things, just as humans in general.
Okay.
I completely agree with that, but the issue today is, I think, of course, is the fact that we've got these people who claim their religiosity as a crutch and are pointing the finger at
Mhm.
everybody and making up lies like groomers and pedophiles when they're the
Yeah.
ones who are actually getting busted and doing it. That they're pointing their finger at innocent people, good people, regardless of what they wear or
Yeah.
shows they put on, and they're the hypocrites. They're
Yeah.
rich in crime, right?
Uh,
Themselves.
if you look at the data on this, so sexual abuse happens all across society. Mainly, usually it happens by a family member. That's most sexual abuse happens by a family member. But what happens, it's not just religious institutions, it's really any institution that's
Or
gonna come in.
someone they know, like close friends.
Or a close family friend.
Sorry.
It's not just religious institutions when I say this, but I do think religious institutions do, the power and the authority that it offers does attract a certain element, but I think that's any institution that offers power and authority over people. So you'll find a lot of abusers in daycare centers. That was a huge problem across the country. It's a perfect place for them to end up. Sometimes it's teachers, sometimes
janitors.
Michigan State, their doctor was abusing all those gymnasts. It's the institutions that offer authority over people are going to draw people that will abuse that authority.
What about the guy in Penn State, the coach?
Yeah. There's just so many examples.
Dozens.
Sandusky.
Dozens.
Mm-hmm.
Dozens and dozens of kids.
So I think
Jim
that
Jordan, the congressman, was involved with the Ohio State wrestling team and knew that there was sexual abuse going on in the same way with the doctor and the student, sports student, and he kept it quiet.
Of course, don't want to taint the reputation of the college.
Well, he had firsthand knowledge and did not report it. And I would believe that I think I heard that he was in the kind of position that he should have been a mandatory reporter.
I think Sandusky may have changed that for college professors because teachers at the elementary and middle school and high school levels almost certainly are mandated reporters. I think college professors are mandated reporters now because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nurses are, doctors are,
clergy should be.
Teachers, I don't know if they are or not.
I think clergy, I think they're kind of supposed to, but only if someone says something about hurting someone or themselves, and then that's the only time they'll say anything.
So,
it has to be something
clergy
extreme.
is supposed. No, clergy is supposed to until it's in the state of confession, and that's only for the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church has a special clause where they don't have to report it in the state of confession. But overall, you are told to go ahead and you have to report it to the authorities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I was raised in the Catholic
also,
Church.
a lot
that's
of
all I know.
Also, the churches are getting smarter, luckily, and they're starting to do background checks. they're not just taking like, oh, you want to be a youth leader or a Sunday school teacher, and they're starting to actually just invest and be like, here's a background check. Well, and maybe they'll have you pay for it or they'll pay for it, but at least they're doing that now. Unfortunately, background checks only do so much. That is, if you've been caught in something, right? And it'll prevent you from kind of, traveling away and then, doing it again. But the problem is that churches oftentimes haven't thought out what to do when somebody does these things, and they'll try to handle it internally. And that is a big no-no. Do not handle these things. They're a crime. Do not handle a crime internally.
On the other hand, I think there are also certain professions that should not be forced to be mandated reporters. Like most universities have a position called a victim's advocate.
Oh.
That is a person that should not be a mandated reporter.
Okay.
Well, I always think about psychotherapists and that sort of person being a mandated reporter. And it's I don't know. I'm torn by it. I think yes, it's a good idea that they are, and then I think, well, I'm in therapy. I don't want my doctor telling them anything about me. Not that I've done anything like we're describing, but the slippery slope.
I am going to say a lot of substitute
Can
trainer
someone just
is
pop in?
headless chicken.
Almost.
A lot of training I
Oh.
had to go through for my current job was
I thought
seriously.
my eyes went twitchy.
Oh,
Seriously, don't
HS.
sleep with kids. And don't be alone in the classroom with
Like one child. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
one child.
keep the door open and have somebody else in the room. You'd be insane these days to not set yourself up that way.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Windows. Have windows on all the doors. Don't be alone. Do not drive a kid alone. Always have twofold leadership. Have different sleeping quarters, like all sorts of things you can avoid, whether you're Boy Scouts, whether you're in church, whatever, that you can just do the extra bit of like, let's make this as impossible as possible. Like,
We had a scoutmaster.
It's silly how many places did not have any rules.
We had a scoutmaster who wasn't interested in having sex with kids, but he sure did like to beat them up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That too is awful.
Yeah, you're gonna toughen up, kid.
Wow. Oh gosh.
I think as far as like altar boys and stuff go, and people like kids like that do work with the church and work one-on-one with the asshole, I think the parents should have to be with them anytime they're in the background. I mean, would definitely, I wouldn't have my kid in a church like that anyways, but the point is, if I were to go to one of those churches, sure as hell wouldn't let my kid go off into a back room with some fucking priest or minister or something. Fuck no.
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
Well, the Mormons could also.
And I think those parents are partially to blame because they trust too much.
The Mormons could also stop the inner worthiness interviews where the bishop is asking the teenagers about masturbation. That's just a creepy thing that needs to stop.
Yeah.
That blew my mind the first time I ever heard of that.
Yeah.
It's absolutely horrible.
I somehow managed to avoid that as a young Mormon.
There's a lot of shame in that. Like in the Baptist church, there was shame in that. They literally gave us a talk about the Big M. They split up the girls and the boys because we can't ever, have sex talks together because Baptists. and they were like they couldn't even say the word. They're like, if you do the Big M and you're self-pleasuring, you're abusing your body. And every time you masturbate, you're cheating on your future wife or husband. And I'm like, oh my God.
Maybe we need to start up a new government agency similar to the police, but not with any kind of weapons or arrest powers or anything like that, but call them the Metropolitan Chaperones, and they're required to be at any kind of church function, Boy Scout function, Girl Scout function, classroom function, that there's somebody official who's standing there watching and making sure none of this shit happens. It'd be expensive, but
Hmm.
Damn it!
Let me tell you,
I hate that when that happens.
boy.
Listen, it'll
Guys,
be a
I
much
have
better.
to head to bed, so I got early morning. Thanks.
Bye, Phil. It's nice seeing
This
you, buddy. Take care.
Bye.
Take
Have a
care.
good
Nice
one.
meeting
Good
you.
night.
See ya. Nice
this
to
country
see ya.
will. Sorry, this country will be a much better place once we have churches running shooting drills rather than the schools.
Huh?
Uh,
I got it.
Sorry, that
Yeah.
was not well thought out on my end.
I
Okay.
got it though.
Carol
There's been a couple instances
Carol in
recently.
chat says Carol in chat says sex education, and I think that's a fundamental important thing. Like, here's the thing with kids that have had abuse: they don't have the words to tell you. They don't have the safety to tell their parents what's happened. They just know they feel ashamed. They know that it's a bad body part, right? Because be ashamed of your bad body part, what we can't even name. And so how do they have the words or the understanding to even talk to their parents? And I mean age specific, like understanding, not this whole, oh my God, you're a groomer, that nonsense they're saying. But I'm talking about like just the words for your body parts is appropriate when you're a child, like, and having the knowledge of this is my space and this is my autonomy, that is okay too. I don't understand why that is threatening to Republicans, the
That's
idea
what
of teaching them consent. We're not
I
talking
don't
about
know.
actual sexual relations. We're talking about the idea of my body and you don't touch.
Yeah, that's what my mother taught us, and that's what we taught our kids. If someone touches you and it's not like your hand or something, you need to tell somebody. You know, like and my mother always used the proper terminology. When I was 5, I said to her I was mad because I didn't have a penis, and I used the word penis because that's what she taught us. It was a vagina and a penis. That's it. You know. Bye, Jenny. She might have dropped. I don't know if she did that on purpose or not. But yeah, I mean that's how my mom was. But she was also you know a nurse who became a science educator. So
Well,
Right.
yeah, and it's kind of
Well,
like,
she was a
that's the
smart
difference.
woman because I think that's how I think that's another thing of why these things happen so prevalently in the conservative churches is because there's a wall of communication. Like you don't feel
Mm.
safe to tell your parents like something. You don't have the words. You don't think you'll be believed. Like it's just stupid. Like there's so many things that could be avoided with common sense.
yeah, I know. Like my daughter was about 9, and I'm a single father, so it's just me and her. And my daughter was about 9, and her doctors told me, because they started having that talk with me about, puberty and, you know, eh, am I ready for it? And am I talking to her about it? And I'm like, no, I'll just have, she can talk to her mom about that. I don't know anything about it. And they were like, no, that's, I need to be talking to her. She needs to feel comfortable that she can come to me with these things. So when she's 16, she has that history of being comfortable and coming and talking to dad about all of these issues. And yeah, I think that you're exactly right. Like when you're running away from it, when you're hiding it, you're breeding a shit ton of problems within that household.
How do those kids don't know? You're telling them to just trust everybody with their bodies, so that's what they're gonna do. Because you don't tell them otherwise. How would they fucking know? And that's the thing is smaller children, they don't know to ask these fucking questions.
If
I
I
mean,
may,
it worked out well in my family because there were so many kids in a row and over so many years that the girls, oldest girls, they figured shit out, and then they kind of passed down information to us. And then if we had any questions, we would ask mom. Mom didn't freely just go, "Oh, let's have a sex talk." She didn't do that.
Well,
But we
people
could
people just
literally
don't.
ask her anything, and she would answer to the best of her knowledge, biologically, scientifically, factual.
People just do not tell their kids enough. I mean, think of maybe you were once 7th, 8th grade, and you went into school sports for the first time, and you had to go get a doctor's appointment. Were you aware that he was going to suddenly become Dr. Jellyfinger?
Oh no, they don't tell you that shit. Nope, they don't tell you that at all.
Kids need
They
I-
don't tell the boys they're going to stick their finger up their ass either, but they do it.
I found out in the 4th grade, the hard way. I played football, so we had to get a physical every August, and
Okay.
yeah, that first physical was something. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it was probably
Yeah,
scared
turn
the shit
the
out of you,
off.
didn't it?
Yeah, they don't warn you for it. And back then, I don't know if they still do it, but they'd give you a gonorrhea test too. So it was worse than a finger up the butt. It was a finger up the
Oh.
butt, and you
Yeah,
know,
swab
the
up your
Q-tip.
dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
bro.
Well, you know what they say. If God didn't want you putting stuff up your butt, they wouldn't have put the happy button there.
That's damn true. That's damn truth. Yep.
Yeah, I don't mind it
If
if
I
I'm
may go
expecting
off on
it.
a tangent that is not this, but is related.
Leave it to Jenny to segue to sex. Go
I
figure.
think one of the things we could do, and I know my dad really wanted to have a sex talk with me, but I was absolutely terrified of it. Not to mention, I really wasn't all that into that whole part of the human experience. Still not into it very much. And I just said no. And so, but I think we need to stop allowing abstinence-only sex education, or near abstinence-only sex education.
I agree.
Yeah,
But-
that's what I
and-
mean. Like this whole, it's so half the truth, right? Like I don't think there's anything wrong with saying it's my belief that you should wait till marriage. I don't really even think there's anything wrong with that. Leave it open. But to hold information, and I don't even mean like for a good time use, these implements. Nothing like that. But to withhold basic biology from people is fucking messed up.
We had sex education when I was in junior high school. I think it was 8th grade was our first time, and in the city of Milwaukee, this was back in the 60s, and we were like the first year that they were going to have sex education in the schools after several years of fighting, and it was fairly comprehensive. I mean, certainly wasn't any college level information that included genetics or anything like that, but they had illustrations, and they didn't have the boys and girls separate. Everyone was together and asked questions together and learned about each other and that kind of stuff. It was fairly decent, for when you go into you know nothing and you come out and you go, oh.
Well, yeah, and if you think about it, especially like if we went a little harder with our sex education, really just showed like impact of sexual diseases, show a true need and necessity to be safe and to be responsible with your sexual decisions. Like having that knowledge and the knowledge of cause and effect, and you would think that, if you want your child to wait till marriage or at least adulthood, which I wouldn't disagree with, sure. Then you would think knowledge would actually help that cause, as opposed to let's not talk about this. So they can go in their bedroom and just think about what they're not supposed to think about.
I would hope that
Well,
today,
then you learn from your friends.
Teenagers don't always make the best rational decisions, and I think some of us know after a certain thing came down, I think yesterday about someone, that adults don't always make the best rational decisions either.
no, of course not.
True. Especially when you're in your 20s, you're just I don't. For me, I was young and dumb and thinking I wasn't thinking with the right head for sure.
I would hope that today, if they are doing any kind of sex education course at whatever grade they're going to do it at, 4th, 5th, 7th, 10th, I don't care, that they include a section on sexual abuse and how to know when somebody is grooming you and how to know when somebody's taking advantage of you and what to look out for that could happen. I don't understand why they don't teach kids about that. I mean, I certainly, individual parents certainly do, stranger danger and all that stuff. And then, of course, you continue, but everybody needs to have that. All the kids need to have that.
I think it's such a great idea to educate them together because, at the end of the day, then it's less understanding of the other sex. You're just like pushing them to fail. If you don't have these discussions, you just teach abstinence. You don't. It's actually, I mean, what are you gonna? they're just gonna send them out in the world, and they're like trying to hump everything, and they don't understand what the fuck they're doing, and
Well, you
why they
see,
have these feelings,
it,
or why they are attracted to whoever, or no one to discuss it with. It's horrible.
in our class, the primary intent was to teach abstinence. Okay, but they also said, and if you don't do that, these are some methods that people use to control birth. Okay, so they were able to do both things, and I don't understand why people can't do that today.
Well,
That it's
listen,
one or the other. That's so stupid.
Yeah, I think it's fair, right? I think that's fair. I don't know why they're so well, it's a control thing. They're threatened in the control. And what's fascinating to me is the states that don't have sex education have the highest teen births.
well,
Mm-hmm.
in this particular city, and I think it's an Indiana organization, there's an organization that feels Indiana's required sex education program is not adequate. So they hold like their own seminars outside, like have business cards and say, listen, if you don't feel it's adequate, come to one of our like sessions and get what we feel is the proper education. And that might just be one thing they need to start doing to combat places like Texas.
God, what a horrible, horrible place they've turned that into. It makes me angry to even know that Texas exists. And stop spelling it the way they want. Spell it Texass.
Yeah, Texas.
Well, I definitely think there needs to be grassroots movements in these rural areas. I mean, if you look at the map, there's such a blatant difference between urban areas and rural areas. Urban areas, you have your centers of knowledge, you have people kind of clustered together, they're able to talk, and it's a lot more diverse. You're getting a lot more diversity, where these rural areas are just kind of havens for misinformation and disinformation. And like, even on the political level, like, Democrats don't go out and try to win these areas or try to press their ideas into these areas. It's like they've given up on it. And when you do that, then nobody's getting the opposite view. I think that, we need to be in these communities, giving the other spin on it, and saying this, what they're telling you, and what your parents are telling you, and it's not everything, and there is more information out there. It's just a lot of times in these really small communities. I grew up in the one, they're like little bubbles, man, and everybody kind of thinks the same.
I live in one of those little communities. I live in the town of 900 in southeast Minnesota. It's a red county, has been for a long time. I only have let one person know that I'm trans, and that's because she has an adult child who's a transgender person also. And so I'm okay with her, and she votes Democratic all the time, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But the rest of the place is red, and I would be really afraid if people found out.
But what would you do? Sorry.
That's all. End the sentence.
What would you do in an area like this one where it's not really urban, even though it's like a small city, has 4 colleges, but yet somehow is still mostly conservative?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's like my city. It's it's not really a city, but we are a city. Kellogg's cereal city of the world. And yeah, it's Trump Nation here. Like, in the height of Trumpophobia, in Trump of whatever it was, I literally thought people were going to come to my house and like fucking lynch me, like, because I was that socialist liberal guy. Everybody knew it and everybody hated it, and I was like, I'm in danger.
We have La Crosse, Wisconsin, nearby us, and they have 3 colleges, one Catholic, one public, and one technical. And it's a very, very blue city. It's amazing. It's in the sea of red, but it's blue city.
We're not totally red here because, remember, Eugene V. Debs ran for president and grew up in this
Eugene
town.
V. Debs?
Yeah.
And he did so well.
Yeah, I remember when Trump first became president, I was still working for the automotive industry. And I literally it almost came to fisticuffs with 2 of my managers. everybody hates me here. Like I can't decide what's worse if I stay here, if I go back to David County, North Carolina. I know if I go to David County, North Carolina, I'm on a pyre, but it's getting close here, man. It's a city, but it's not really a city.
Come on, move to La Crosse, Wisconsin. We'll get
Yeah.
along fine.
I need to get the hell out of this town.
They actually have gay, several gay shows a year. Not gay. I didn't mean that. Drag queen shows a year, and there's one coffee house that has private drag shows there, and readings for children once in a while too.
Yeah,
I have to go to Grand Rapids or Detroit. Really, I mean, those are our two. I mean, they're what keep us purple.
I just hope no one tells Donald Trump about Eugene v. Debs. Especially the bit where he runs for president from prison.
Okay, who doesn't know who Eugene v. Debs is?
I don't. At least it's not ringing a bell.
Late labor leader.
Yeah, he was a communist. At least that's how the right would see him.
So
Well,
I
he was
should
a
know it.
socialist,
I'm gonna get.
He
I'm
did
gonna get
eventually
yelled
become
at.
a socialist.
I'm a bad socialist.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm a socialist too, but they call me a communist, and because they just don't discriminate correctly because they don't know a damn thing.
Yeah, they call me a communist.
No, I'm talking about. I'm
Sometimes I'll
a
fuck with them. I'll call him a comrade just to fuck with them.
Yeah, but the bit I'm more worried about is that he ran for prison like his final time.
Yeah, you really want to fuck with the heads of the Reds. Start using the terms proletariat and bourgeoisie, see what they do, and especially when they find out they're the proletariat.
Yeah, I tried to explain to a guy, Taylor. I love him. He's different. I try to explain to him, I'm a market socialist, and I try to explain what that was, and he just still kept seeing Stalin. I'm like, dude, no, it's not that.
Most of these people have
No,
never
it's
even
definitely
read.
not that.
Most of these people would never even manage to read anything about Adam Smith and what he actually believed, because Adam Smith would be called a socialist by most of those people.
Yeah, that wouldn't be surprising. I grew up in Milwaukee, and that's only like about 80, 90 miles south of the center of action for Joe McCarthy, and where he grew up and what he came out of. The big communist hunter in the 50s, who stood up with a blank piece of paper and said, "I've got a list of 200 names in the State Department who are communists." That of course wasn't true, but everybody thought it was. And now I tried to go there every 5 to 10 years just to be sure to piss on his grave. Drop trowel and piss.
Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy got his start under McCarthy. He was one of his assistants.
Yes, you're right.
I didn't know that. It's interesting.
If you look at Bobby, so JFK is one thing. That's assassinated president. The assassination of Bobby Kennedy. If you look at that, there's a lot there, and that dude. I mean, he was riding a wave of momentum. He was considered like the great hope of Americans, and they took him out. They took his ass out.
It was assumed he was going to win the Democratic nomination. I was a kid then, and I was one of his supporters as a kid. It was like 9th grade, I believe. 8th grade, 9th grade.
I don't know. I wasn't even a twinkle.
Yeah, it was a horror. He remained alive for 5 or 6 days after he was shot, and there were prayer vigils all over the country nonstop. It was kind of a rainy season at that point, and everything was gloomy, and everybody walked in the halls of the school, looking down and sad, and God, it was so heavy duty. And then he died, of course.
Yeah, he was the first presidential candidate to be openly for civil rights, and a lot of people questioned him. He had to work hard because of that. Of his roots with McCarthy, a lot of people didn't trust him. He had to gain that trust. And he was the first presidential candidate, came out for civil rights, and he didn't make it.
He would have been far superior to his brother.
Oh, I agree. He would have been a hell of a president.
10-minute warning.
Oh,
Yeah, I got about an
Okay.
hour till the Christian rooms open up, and I'm gonna cause some trouble tonight. I'm gonna cause some fucking trouble tonight.
what are these rooms?
CJ Cox is having a room. Praise is having a room. I've been drinking
Oh
coffee,
no.
so I'm
What,
a little
Discord,
jacked up. You know?
Discord room or what?
Yeah, open room. So I'm just gonna go in and start some shit. I'm a little
What about
jacked up. I've
logic?
been drinking coffee all night.
What about logical, probable, plausible? Or Lil PP, as some people call him.
You know, I enjoy talking to CJ, and usually we have political conversations. And there's been one like dumpster fire, and that we had a debate on. He thinks the United States needs to adopt ancient Israel's slavery system. So yeah, that was a dumpster
Why?
fire. Oh, because the Bible, you know. So, but I've never really talked to him about religion, and he's a fundamentalist Christian. And I'm watching some of his debates that he's been having with other Christians, and I'm like, oh my God, I've got to have a serious talk with CJ. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start some shit.
I mean, she's not a Christian, but if you watch Amy Newman's streams that go late night, sometimes she gets really interesting Christians on.
She really does. She does it like I think she starts somewhere between 11 and 1 Eastern time, depending on the night. And they get in there and they go into Discord. She'll run the Discord discussion on her stream, and I mean, there's some shit flying, like the Christians calling her him.
Oh, there
And
was
she
one
just
person.
goes, whatever.
There was
She's
one
like, I know
person-
who I am. I don't give a fuck.
I
You got
remember
some
those
stuff?
days.
There was one person that came into her live stream to inform us that he was having sex with God.
Oh yeah, biblically or biblical or whatever the hell he calls his name. Yeah, he's in a sexual relationship with God. Yeah.
I love nothing more than to look at evangelicals right in the eye and tell them that God talks to me, and that God told me this about you, you know, and be as sincere as I possibly can, because I figure if God talks to them, then He must talk to me too.
You know,
Look, the guy's left has no feeling, so he calls it the hand of God. He doesn't realize it's just his other hand.
You know, when I was a kid, I remember, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses would come to our door all the damn time. And now that I'm an atheist, I just once, when they come to the door and they want to tell me about God, I just want to be able to say, well, let me tell you about Satan. You know, I just one time, but like they never come to the door anymore.
Really?
Why?
Not
wonder.
here. Not here. I'm not...
It doesn't help that Knox address is like 666 such and such
I do live in
lane.
an apartment building, so I think that's like soliciting. They probably stay away from apartment buildings.
I got a letter during the pandemic from the Jehovah's Witnesses in my mail, and I wrote them back saying it's like, as an ex-Mormon, I fulfilled my one weird religion per lifetime quota. And therefore, I'm not interested in your religion.
I always got rid of the JWs with using either my 100-pound German Shepherd, who had an attitude, or answering the door naked.
I probably shouldn't have addressed it. Probably shouldn't have used the salutation, dear God botherer.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to like learn about as many gods as I can. I expect in the long run it's just going to mean more dumpster fires with different kinds of people.
Oh,
okay, last question is, go ahead. Finish your
just
comment.
start bringing in the Lovecraftian mythos. They will have no idea that they're fictional.
So one question for you, Knock, before we shut this down. Carol said, wait, Rage is an atheist again?
Yeah, I mean, well, it wasn't that big of a switch. Like I was having like a philosophical crisis, you know.
Okay.
And I wanted to be open, and I started meditating, you know,
Nothing wrong with that.
looking at Buddhism and stuff, and yeah, I don't see it. I just can't. So I'm trying to be more understanding.
Just can't make that leap though.
Yeah, it's hard. And I mean, it was a small shift, you know. So.
If I was gonna choose one, that's where I'd head towards, because at least they're supposed to be more loving than what these Christians say here and don't really do. You know. Anybody got anything to shield before we go ahead?
I'm still waiting for the first Christian to give all their shit away. You know, I'm poor.
Yeah, right? Hey, you know, if they put one homeless person in every church, there'd be no homeless people. Anyways,
Yeah.
anybody want to show anything before we go?
I'm talking to Marty. She's a witch. I've
Marty's
listened to a
awesome.
couple streams in a row about how witches murder people and they're demonic brides of Satan. So I'm gonna ask her
She's
I'm
not
gonna
that
ask her the
kind of
hard
witch.
questions. We're gonna have the hard conversations with the witch tomorrow. So
There you go. Yeah, Marty Cameo is amazing. Go ahead, Porpoise.
I put up. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't. Sorry, I was just recalling something I said earlier and wishing I had. I'm tired. I was going like for 6 months as a full-time college student and working full-time.
Oh, that's tough.
So yeah, my brain
yeah.
still need to recover over the next couple of weeks after my brain being fried from that. But
Try Wheaties. It's a breakfast of champions.
somehow I don't think you mean actual cereal. I think you mean cannabis.
All right.
No, actually, Jenny wouldn't have said that. I would have said that.
And I would like
You
to remind
flipped
you
it.
that
I've
I
bought
would
it
like
in
to remind
12
you
years.
that cannabis is legal in every state that borders this one,
No, 14. I haven't bought any pot in 14.
but not this one.
Shit.
Legal in mine, medical and recreational. Anyways, so I'm gonna cut this off. I have a teenager I have to go pick up from a basketball game.
No, I have
not
one.
mine.
I have one thing.
Oh,
real
go ahead.
quick,
Yeah. I'm
go
sorry,
to my
Jenny.
go to my Twitter profile and go and launch into my Amazon wish list and buy me one of those things that's like $1,000. There's a
Okay.
number of them in there, so
Okay, you guys do that for her, and we'll be good. We'll be we'll all be good.
we need to all
Um,
get together and be active and get all of these states legal marijuana because everybody should have it.
we're getting close.
Stephanie came just in time to say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Indiana will get there.
Everybody, remember, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. And absolutely, definitely have some peace in your life.
You're late, Steph.
I guess.